So, good morning, dear student. Today, I will discuss with you all a new interesting topic. Okay, that is called as human nervous system. Okay, it's a human nervous system. So, the human nervous system basically consists of three parts. Okay, or it has a three parts. First is called as CNS. Okay, second is called as PNS, and last is called as ANS. Okay. मैम ने तो ये सब लिख दिया, but what exactly it is? Okay, that I'm now tell you. So CNS is known as Central Nervous System. Okay, whereas P is called as Peripheral Nervous System, and ANS is called as Autonomous Nervous System. Okay, so human nervous system basically consists of three parts. First is called as central nervous system. Second, I noted by A, B and C. Okay, it consists of three parts. First is called as central nervous system. Second is called as peripheral nervous system, and third is called as autonomous nervous system. Okay, the first we will discuss, okay, with the central nervous system. Okay, so here let us discuss the central nervous system first. Later on we will discuss PNS and ANS. So let's start with the central nervous system. Okay, here one first is central nervous system. Okay, now you know that the central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. It basically consists of brain and spinal cord. So central nervous के part में क्या आता है? Brain और spinal cord. That is called as CNS. Right? Now, this central nervous system is just like a telephone exchange. Okay, it's look like a telephone exchange. Okay, with ingoing and outgoing wires are there, and this is ultimately responsible for control and coordination of the activity of nervous system. Okay, so you know that when you see the diagram of central nervous system, okay, so आपको ऐसे लगता है कि एक दूसरे में वायर फंसे हुए हैं. Okay, it's not only one part of your body. Okay, you through from head to toe you can see it is a network of wires. Okay, so it's just like a telephone exchange which have ingoing and outgoing wires are there. Okay, but what is the need of that? Why this are act like that? Because this is necessary to control and coordinations of all this activity of this nervous system. right? Now, this work of central nervous system is like that, to direct the incoming message to this motor neuron and that are connected to the part of a body and which will respond to the stimulus. Okay, that is actually the working of central nervous system. As you know that the central nervous system, what will happen? See, that is receptor is there. Okay, receptor gives stimulus to the central nervous system. Okay, that is brain and spinal cord. Okay, and this is happen with the help of sensory nerves. Okay, and from the sensory nerves, from the central nervous system through the motor nerves. Okay, it goes to this effector organ and show their response. Understood? So I can see like that the work of central nervous system or working of central nervous system is to direct the incoming messages from this motor neuron that are connected to the different parts of a body. It means muscles and gland, and which will respond to this stimulus. Okay, that is actually the working of central nervous system. Okay, so by using central nervous system, you know that a person can also vary his behavior according to the changing situation. Okay, suppose बहुत खुशी होती है, राइट? तो हम बहुत हंसते हैं, हैप्पी रहते हैं, राइट? अब हमें कहीं चोट लग जाती है तो हमारे सडनली हमारा बिहेवियर जो है चेंज हो जाता है, हम रोने लग जाते हैं. ओके, जो चीज हमें पसंद नहीं आती है तो हम अपने फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन से वो शो करते हैं कि वी डोंट लाइक दैट वन, राइट? सो दिस इज the changing of behavior occurs in human beings is only and only because of the central nervous system. Okay, so I can say like that by using a central nervous system, person can vary his behavior according to their changing situation. Okay, for example, I am giving you if we pick up a very hot plate, right, without knowing that it is very hot, okay, then what will happen? Then our reflex action producing by the spinal cord is alone. Okay, and say that we should pull away our hand, right? Suddenly मैंने क्या किया, unknowingly, मुझे पता नहीं कि ये प्लेट बहुत गर्म है पर मैंने उसको टच कर दिया. Okay, so at that time when I touch, what will happen? A reflex action is produced, and reflex action is only and only produced by the spinal cord. Reflex action only and only produced by the spinal cord. Okay, and that say that we should pull away our hand from this hot plate. Okay, so that our hand is safe from the burns. Okay, it will not affect. But if we pull away of our hand, then what will happen? Then plate would be dropped and break into so many pieces, and as we know, our mothers and know will definitely scold us for breaking of the plate if the plate is very new and very costly. Okay, so now it is here that the central nervous system involving the brain in that situation. Okay, firstly only what will happen? Spinal cord response. Okay, the reflex action produced by the spinal cord कि नहीं ये बहुत गर्म है तो आप अपना हाथ इस प्लेट से हटा दो. Okay, so that our hand is safe from the burns and boils, right? बट इफ वी पुल अवे आवर हैंड देन व्हाट विल हैपन, प्लेट हमारे हाथ से छूट जाएगी और ब्रेक हो जाएगी और मम्मा डांटेगी, राइट? But now here in that situation, central nervous system involving this brain in that situation. But how? Let's see. Okay. So when the message from our fingers say that plate is too hot, okay, that arrives at our central nervous system. बराबर है, वो कहाँ जाएगा? Central nervous system. But there is another already message saying but do not drop it. Okay. क्या होता है? जैसे कि हम जब प्लेट को छूते हैं, राइट, इट्स वेरी हॉट, हमें पता चलता है. सो एट दैट सेम टाइम इट्स अराइव्स एट आवर सीएनएस सिस्टम. ओके, क्या मैसेज, दूसरा मैसेज वहां पे पहुंच जाता है कि क्या नहीं, ये चीज गर्म तो है, उसको छोड़ दो, पर छोड़ना नहीं क्योंकि वो टूट जाएगी, तो उसको रख दो नीचे. एंड दिस इज ड्यू टू द इंटेलिजेंस ऑफ अ ब्रेन. And this is due to the intelligence. So CNS will consider the messages together. So central nervous system is consider the message together. Then it may decide to send a message to the muscles to tell them to put down the plate gently, but not to drop it. Understand? So in that complicated situations, so I am just giving you one example. Okay, before we actually start the central nervous system. So this is just an example. So on that basis you can say like that, in very complicated situation or responses, both the brain and spinal cords are involved. Okay, so here I am writing, it's very important note is that in complicated responses, both brain and spinal cord are involved. Understood? Okay. So as we know that central nervous system has two parts, that is the brain and spinal cord. So let's start with this brain. Okay, here I am start with brain. So सबको पता है, सब में ब्रेन होता है, पर कौन कितना यूज करता है, इट्स अप टू डिपेंड ऑन हिम और हर, राइट? सो ब्रेन, व्हाट इज ब्रेन? ह्यूमन ब्रेन इज सिचुएटेड. अब ये ब्रेन जो है कहाँ पे रहता है? ओके, इट इज सिचुएटेड इन cranium of skull. You have a head, so if you can feel very hard, if you touch your head you feel very hard, right? So that hard structure is known as skulls, and inside the skulls one bony covering is present, that's called as cranium, and that inside that cranium brain is situated. So what is the location of this brain? So human brain is situated in cranium, okay, of skull. It is situated in this cranium of skull, right? Then what is brain? Brain is very soft, okay, brain is very soft, it whitish and large size. And slightly flattened structure, and slightly flattened, right? Structure. So brain is very soft, बहुत soft होता है, it is whitish in color, and you know it's very large size, but it's slightly flat structure. Then the brain has weight. Okay, it has weight, generally about it has weight about near about it's 1300 to 1400 grams. Okay, this is the actual weight of brain. Okay, this is the weight of brain is generally 1300 to 1400 grams. Now you know that the brain has volume, okay, of about 1300 to 1500 cubic centimeter cc. As you know that volume is always measured in the unit of cubic centimeter, right? So the brain has weight generally 1300 to 1400 grams, and it has volume nearly about 1300 to 1500 cc. Now brain is develops to its full at the age of 6 years. Brain is fully developed, okay, it's developed at the age of 6 years and at that age that contain 30,000 millions, again I am repeating, it contain 13,000 millions of neuron in it. Okay, that contain about 13,000 millions of neuron at the age of 6 year. At this age brain is fully developed, right? Now supportive cells of nervous system are neuroglia, that is called as Schwann cells, right? And epidermal cells that are also present. Now you know that the brain is covered by the membrane. That membrane is called as meninges. This is all about the brain. Brain is where it's located, is located in cranium of the skull. It's very soft. Color of brain is whitish. Size, it has large size and slightly flattened structure. The weight of brain is just about 1300 to 1400 gram. Okay, the brain has volume near about 1300 to 1500 centimeter, and what the brain develops to its full at the age of 6 years, and that contain about 300 millions of neuron. Okay, and supportive cells of nervous systems are also present in that is called neuroglia, like that. That's a Schwann cell and all. Okay, so now this brain is covered by membrane. Okay, that membrane is known as meninges. It's known as meninges. This is very important. You can see the covering of brain. Okay, the membrane that covers the brain, that membrane is known as meninges. Okay, so you know the meninges. So meninges is nothing but the connective tissue membrane that covered the brain. So meninges is nothing but the connective tissue membrane, okay, that covered the brain. Okay, that is called as meninges. Okay, so this meninges, not only brain, this meninges covered not only brain but also the whole central nervous system. Okay, the whole central nervous system means it covers brain as well as spinal cord. Now you got it. So covering of connective tissue membrane, okay, around the brain and spinal cord is known as meninges. Okay, so in mammal, I am talking about mammals. We are mammals, right? Why we are mammals? Because we have a mammary gland and we give birth to the young ones. Okay, that's why we are mammals. So in mammals, what will happen? There are three membrane. There are three membrane that covers the brain and spinal cord. Okay, the first membrane is called as dura mater. Okay, the second membrane is known as arachnoid matter. Okay, and the third membrane is known as pie matter. Okay, so these three membrane covers the brain and spinal cord. So what is this? It is dura mater. It is the outermost layer. Dura mater is the first layer. It is the outermost layer, or we can say it's the outermost membrane. Okay, so dura mater, it is the outermost membrane of the brain. Okay, then it attached to the cranium. It attached to cranium and vertebrae. It's vertebrae. Okay, so this is the outermost membrane of this brain, and this attached to this, this is a cranium, suppose. Okay, and the first layer, this layer is known as dura mater. So it attached to the cranium, and from the brain, you know that spinal cord is started, so it has an vertebrae, so it covers the brain also. It's attached to the cranium as well as this vertebrae also. Then this dura mater, it's very thick. Okay, it's very tough and fibrous. What is the nature of this dura mater? It's very thick. It is a very thick, fibrous and tough membrane. And what is the function of this membrane is, it is protective in function. It protects the brain and spinal cord, right? So what is the function of dura mater? It is a protective in functions. Okay, so this is all about the dura mater, and this is the first membrane, a connective tissue membrane, or first covering of the brain. Second, it's called as arachnoid matter, and this arachnoid matter, it is a second layer, or we can say it is a middle layer, or it is a middle membrane. And this membrane, it's very thin and it is vascular. It is very thin and it's very vascular membrane. And this is formed by, this layer is formed by basically a reticular connective tissue. Okay, we know that all these three membranes is formed by connective tissue, but which type of connective tissues are from which this arachnoid matter is formed? So it is formed by reticular connective tissue. Okay, and it has a spider web like appearance. Okay, it appears this arachnoid, this middle membrane appears like a spider web. Okay, and what is the function of this arachnoid matter? It is nutritive. It provides a nutrition as well as protection. So it is nutritive and protective in function. So this is all about the arachnoids. So arachnoids is a middle membrane. It is thin and vascular in nature. It formed by one of the special type of connective tissue that is called as reticular connective tissues, and this middle layer appears like a spider web, and it gives nourishment and protection. So it is nutritive and protective in nature and in functions. The last and third important membrane covering of the brain is called as pia mater, and it is the innermost membrane, right? It is the innermost membrane. It is thin, right? And it is a vascular membrane lying along the central nervous system, okay? And it is vascular. It is innermost thin vascular membrane that lying along the central nervous system. Means it's present in both brain as well as the spinal cord. Okay, now you can see this is a covering. I'm just telling this, if this is a rough diagram, this is a first, that is called dura mater. After that, what is layer is there? Sorry, this is first layer, that is called as pia mater. Second layer is known as arachnoids mater, and one more layer that is called as dura mater. So dura mater is the outermost layer. So here you can see between this dura mater, okay, this layer and this layer, the gap is there, okay, this gap. So between the dura mater and arachnoids mater, subdural space is, the space is there, that space is known as, here I am writing, that space is known as subdural space, okay. The space between, this is a dura mater, this arachnoid mater, and this is a pia mater. The space between is outer, this is second layer, and this is third layer, okay. I'm using different pens so you can. So you can see this space, the space between dura mater and arachnoids mater, it's called as subdural space, okay. And the space in between this pia mater, this is pia mater and arachnoids mater, is called as arachnoid space, okay. This two important is there, right? So you can see the dura mater and arachnoids matters, subdural space is present in between the dura mater and arachnoids mater, subdural space is present, and in between this pia maters and arachnoids matters, subarachnoid space is present, okay. So this space contains the lymph like watery fluid, okay. So what's present in the space, okay. So in that space, उस जगह क्या रहता है? It contain lymph like watery fluid, is lymph like watery fluid, okay, that known as cerebrospinal fluid. Long form of CSF is called as cerebrospinal fluid, okay. And this cerebrospinal fluid is secreted by this, I think it is called a fluxus, okay, but that is not in your syllabus. So but you just remembered is that in between the space one watery lymph-like fluid is present, that's called as CSF, and that CSF is nothing but the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, this cerebrospinal fluid generally alkaline in nature. It's alkaline in nature, and approximately 120 ml of cerebrospinal fluid is present in adult. Okay, how many ml of cerebrospinal CSF is present in adult? It's generally 120. Then we'll see what are these functions of meningitis and cerebrospinal fluid. We will discuss first the functions. Okay, so you know that meninges is nothing but a membrane that covers the brain and spinal cord. So that meninges are protective and nutritive in functions. The first is called as meninges. Okay, so meninges are protective and nutritive in function, right? Second is like that, CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, the CSF is act as a shock absorber. Okay, so it absorbs the shocks. So जैसे कि कहीं हम गिर जाते हैं तो हमें बहुत जोर से लगता है, जैसे हम सर के ऊपर गिर गए तो कुछ टाइम के लिए हम, ये क्या होता है, कुछ समझ में नहीं आता हमें. ओके, बहुत जोर से लगती है, पर जो वो जितने जोर से वो ब्रेन को लगती है उससे ज्यादा उसका इंटेंसिटी होता है, पर वो इंटेंसिटी कौन एब्सॉर्ब करता है? cerebrospinal fluid. That's why cerebrospinal fluid act as a shock absorbers. Okay. Second, it also protects the brain. So this cerebrospinal fluid, what it also protects the brain from external shock and injury. From external shock and injuries. Okay, not only that, it this cerebrospinal fluid, now I am discussed with this cerebrospinal fluid only. So this cerebrospinal fluid, we have discussed the functions. Okay, so first, cerebrospinal fluid is act as a shock absorber. Second function, it protects the brain from external shocks and injuries. And the third function of the cerebrospinal fluid is that it maintains it maintains the contact pressures, okay, around this brain and inside the cranium. It maintains the contact pressure, okay, around the brain and inside the cranium, so that each and every place is that accurate place. Okay, then fourth function of the cerebrospinal fluid is that it used for exchange of nutrient, right? It is also used in exchange of nutrient, not only nutrient but waste material also. Okay, between अब किस में exchange होता है? Between the blood and blood tissues. Okay, so the very important function of the cerebrospinal fluid is help in exchange of nutrient and waste material between the blood and blood tissues. The next function is that it also help in supply of oxygen to the brain. It's also help in supply of oxygen, okay, to brain. Apart from that, this CSF, okay, cerebrospinal fluids, it also keeps the central nervous system, okay. This CSF is not only present in brain, but it's also present around the spinal cord. And as we know that brain and spinal cord are the two components of the central nervous system, so this CSF keeps the central nervous system moist, okay, and prevent it from desiccation, or we can say drying. Prevents the brain from drying, okay, or we can, it's called desiccation. So this all are about this membrane of this brain, that is called as meninges, okay. And the infection of meninges is known as meningitis, okay. The infection of this meninges is known as meningitis, okay. So this is all about this covering of this brain, that is called as meninges. Next we will see the human brain part, okay, what the brain consists. So basically the brain consists of 3 parts. So now we will discuss the parts of brain. So brain consists of 3 parts, okay. First is called as forebrain, second part of brain is called as midbrain, and third part is called as hindbrain or hindbrain, okay. So brain consists of 3 parts, that is called as forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Before we discuss, I will draw the diagram of brain. So let us see how to draw it, right? It's like that. Okay, and from that side you can draw like that, then the structures, okay. And from this, like, so this covers like that, you can see, okay. Here you will draw this structure and draw. So how to draw? Just like that, right? So in that, okay. So here this brain is attached to this part, Just wait, okay? That's best. Okay. Now let's cover the brain. This is the covering of brain. You can draw like that. Okay, here. Again, one more covering. Okay, and from that covering, there. Okay, and here you can draw so this is brain. Okay, now I will do leveling. So see which part is this. You can see this part. Okay, this part is called as forebrain. Okay, you can see this one. Sorry, not this one. You see this one. Okay, that is called as hypothalamus. And you can see this two-legged structure that is called as pituitary gland, and you can see this is called as spinal cord. Okay, that is called as, this one is called as cerebellum, and this two portion you can see. Okay, this one and this one. This one, upper one, is called as pons varolii. Below one is called as you can say it's a medulla, and this covering is called as cranium. And you can see this portion, right? This is called as midbrain. Okay, it's a lack of space, so I did leveling like that. Okay, but always do leveling on one hand side. And you can see this portion that is called as cerebrum. Okay, this is actually the structure of brain. Okay, now we start with this. So we know that the brain consists of three parts, that is a forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So first we will start with the forebrain. Forebrain consists of four parts. It consists of four parts. That is called as, first is called as, I'm drawing like that so you will understand very well. It contains olfactory lobe. Okay, forebrain. Second, it is cerebrum. Third part of forebrain is called as basal nuclei, and fourth and last part is called as dicephalon. Dicephalon. encephalon. Understood? So brain consists of three parts: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Let's start with this forebrain first. Forebrain has four parts, have distinct region, that is called as olfactory lobe, cerebrum, basal nuclei, and diencephalon. Okay, so we'll start with this olfactory lobe. What do you mean by it, sir? It's not well developed in mammal. It's not well developed. What? Olfactory lobe. And that olfactory lobe is concerned with the smell. Okay, हमें पता है स्मेल आती है. दैट स्मेल इज बिकॉज वी कैन टेक अ स्मेल बिकॉज ऑफ वी हैव अ ऑल्फैक्टरी लोब. ये हमारी इसमें ह्यूमन बीइंग में बहुत स्मॉल रहती है. ओके, इट्स नॉट वेल डेवलप्ड, इट्स वेरी स्मॉल. दैट्स व्हाई वी आर नॉट that much sensitive to the smell like that dog, cat they have. Animal have a big olfactory lobes. Okay, so they are very much sensitive to the smell. So this is not well developed. It only concerned with smell. Then you can say like that, one pair olfactory lobe. Okay, how many pairs? It is a pair of small sized solid bodies are present. Okay, its smallest bodies are present. Okay, in human beings, sense of smells is comparatively very pure. Okay, why it is pure? Just now I just before I told you that the sense of in human beings, sense of smell is comparatively very 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 poor. Okay, as compared to the animal, just like a dog, cat and all. So why it is so? Because of it has a very small size of olfactory lobe present in humans. That's it. So this is all about this olfactory lobe. The second part of the forebrain is the cerebrum. This is very 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 important part of this forebrain. Okay, we can say cerebrum. It is the largest part of the brain. Okay, now we are discuss about the second part of the brain, that is called as cerebrum. You can see here this part. This is the cerebrum. So largest part of the brain is called as cerebrum. Okay, it accounting 80 to 80% of its weight of brain. It generally accounting 80 to 85% of its weight. It means brain weights. Okay, and this cerebrum is divided into two parts. The cerebrum is divided into two parts, that is called as right and left cerebral hemisphere. Okay, right cerebral hemisphere, left cerebral hemisphere. Okay, so cerebrum is divided into two parts, that is right and left. So right part is called as right cerebral hemisphere, left part is known as left cerebral hemisphere, and these both are connected by the one connection. That connection is known as cerebral fissure. है, जब आप किसी का ब्रेन देखते हो तो यहाँ पे आपको देखना ऐसे ऐसे स्ट्रक्चर आता है. We can see that is called as cerebral features. Okay, and on the left side left cerebral hemisphere and right hand side right cerebral hemisphere. Okay, so you can see the right and left cerebral hemispheres are connected by the one band, that is called as cerebral fissure. Okay, now you know that cerebrum, what is it? cerebrum, it is, you can say, it is actually the main thinking part of the brain. Okay, cerebrum is nothing but it's a main thinking part of brain. Okay, you can see this is a forebrain. Okay, this is a forebrain, and forebrain has olfactory lobe, cerebrum, basal nuclei, and diencephalon. These are a part of forebrain. Okay, so this forebrain, you know that, you can see this is a midbrain, and you know this is the part of hindbrain. So here the cerebrum is actually main thinking part of the brain. It is site of our factories, such as, it is a site of our factories such as, you know, जैसे कि learning, it is a site of learning, reasoning, intelligence, personality, and memory. Okay, so what is the functions? As we know that cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It generally accounting 80 to 85% of weight of brain, and you know, the cerebrum is divided into two parts. Okay, with the help of one band that is called as cerebrum features. On left side it contains left cerebral hemisphere. On right hand side it contains a right cerebrum hemisphere. Okay, so this cerebrum is actually the main thinking part of the brain, and it is our faculties. It is a site of faculty, just like that learning, intelligence, reasoning, personality, and memory. Okay, you know, I will rub and then I will tell you another features of this cerebrum. So here cerebrum, right? We'll continue with the cerebrum. So all our thoughts, sensation, our actions and movement are controlled by the cerebrum. Okay, what is next that I tell you? All our sensations, feelings, you know, good feelings, bad feelings, right? So all our thoughts, our sensations, means our feelings, right? Whether it's good or it's our emotions, our actions, and our movements. Okay, all are controlled by the cerebrum. It is actually cerebrum is a center of micturition. What do you mean by micturition? Micturition. What do you mean? What do you mean by micturition? Process of urination is known as micturition. Okay, जब हम टॉयलेट के लिए जाते हैं, that process is known as micturition. So this cerebrum, it actually is the center of micturition, or you can say it's also controlled by this cerebrum. Not only the center of micturition is called as defecations. Okay, defecation, F-A-E sheds, right? Sorry, F-A-E is also a defecation center, whipping center, and also the laughing center. Okay, so you know that cerebrum is a very, very, very important part. Not only it's a center of micturition, it's also center of defecations, whipping, and laughing. Okay, now cerebrum has differentiation. Now again the cerebrums have again differentiated or different region or different areas for performing different functions. Okay, so cerebrum has different areas. In that areas there in the cerebrum there are different areas, and that areas to perform different functions. Okay, so here there are three areas are there. How many? There are three areas are there. The first, second and third. The first area is known as sensory area. Second area is known as associated area. And third and last area is known as motor area. Understood? There are three areas present in cerebrum, that is called as, first is called as sensory area, second is called as associated area, and last is called as motor area. Okay, so we'll see what exactly the sensory area. The sensory areas where is this area where the information is received from the sense organ, like here the information received, okay, from sense organs. And you know sense organs are nothing but the eyes, nosy, ears, tongue and skin. Okay, the skin, and gives sensation. Okay, and gives sensations. Okay, sensation, or we can say it's called as gives feelings. Okay, so what type of feelings they are giving? They are giving, we can feel pain, pleasure, right, fear, fatigue, not only that, pressure, temperature, pressure, temperature. Okay, so we get all these feelings, and all these voluntary actions of our body are controlled by the cerebrum. This is very important, right? So you can see that it has a first area of the cerebrum is called as sensory area. Okay, and sensory area is that area which receive the information from sense organs and gives sensation or gives feelings. Which type of feelings it gives? It, we can feel the pain, we can feel pressure, pleasure, pressure, temperature, fatigue, डर, fatigue जिसे हम कहते हैं. Okay, ये सब हम feel करते हैं because of the sensory area. Then second area you can see that is called as associated area, which control thinking and memory. Actually, this is very important area, and this area which actually control thinking and memory. Okay, and it's also stored in it's also store the information, store information and experiences. Okay, जैसे for example फर्स्ट टाइम हम साइकिल चलाते हैं, राइट, तो हम गिरते हैं, फिर सेकंड टाइम और चलाते हैं तो और उससे कुछ सीखते हैं, फिर थर्ड टाइम, फोर्थ टाइम, देन जब फिफ्थ सिक्स टाइम जब चलाते हैं तो तब वेल ट्रेन हो जाते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि हम जो वो हमारे एसोसिएटेड एरिया ऑफ ब्रेन में वो सेव होते जाता है. ओके, और उससे हम वो इंफॉर्मेशन सेव करते कि नहीं अभी ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, ऐसा करने से हम गिर जाएंगे, तो कोई एक्सीडेंटली कोई सामने आए तो ब्रेक लगानी चाहिए, तो साइकिल अचानक से रुक जाती है, राइट. So we are store that information according to our experiences. Huh? So this whatever the information we got, that information and experiences are stored in associated area of the cerebrum. Okay. The next area that is called as motor area, right? So this motor area is the area from which instructions are sent to these muscles. Is this area from which instructions are sent to muscles, okay, to do various type of job. So this is all about the three areas of the cerebrum. But one of the most important thing of cerebrum is like that all the voluntary actions, again I repeat, all the voluntary actions. What do you mean a voluntary action? Whatever the actions are under a control of our will, okay? Actions of our body are controlled by cerebrum. Okay, so this is all about this cerebrum. Okay, then we will see the basal nuclei and diencephalon of a forebrain. Then we start the midbrain, right? Okay, so let's start with. So next, third part of this forebrain is the basal nuclei. Third part, and fourth part of forebrain is diencephalon. Okay. So we'll discuss with the first of all basal nuclei. It controls the automatic movement of skeletal muscles. It is not in your syllabus, basal nuclei and diencephalon, okay? But in short, you should aware about that this part of forebrain, okay? So this part of this forebrain that is called as basal nuclei, it controls automatic, okay, to control the automatic movement of skeletal muscles, okay. So this is actually the part of basal nuclei. Then fourth and last part of this forebrain is known as diencephalon, and it is this diencephalon is nothing but it is a functional link between. It is nothing but it's a functional link between the cerebrum and brain stem. You know, this pons varilli and medulla together it's called as brain stem. So here this diencephalon is the connection between, or it is a functional link between the cerebrum and this brain stem. Together is called as brain stem, right? Yes. So this is a functional link between cerebrum and brain stem. It is located below the corpus callosum and is divided again. You can see this diencephalon, it is again divided into, or you can say divisible into three regions. It is again divisible into three regions, okay. First, it's called as epithalamus. It is epithalamus. Okay, it's a thalamus, and last is called as hypothalamus. Okay, these are the three regions are present in diencephalon, and one more, the where the diencephalon is located. Okay, so it's located below. Diencephalon is located below the corpus callosum. Okay, so this is all about the forebrain of brain. Okay, this is all about the information regarding the forebrain of brain. So basically the forebrain of brain consists of four parts, that is olfactory lobe, cerebellum, basal nucleus and diencephalon. Next we will see the midbrain. Okay, here I will rub this diagram. Okay, you know what, where is the mid? You can see here the midbrain situated here, and hindbrain portion, that is pons varolii, is here, and medulla oblongata is here. Okay, so let's start with this midbrain. So the second part of brain is known as midbrain. Okay, so what exactly this midbrain? So you already show you the position of a midbrain. Okay, so midbrain, it does not have further division. It does not further divisible. Further division not occurs in midbrain, right? So it do not have further division. It control the reflex movement of head especially. Okay, so midbrain, we are just right now talking about the midbrain. So it control reflex movement of head, neck, and trunk. Okay, in response to visual and auditory stimuli. Okay, what is actually the function of midbrain? So midbrain actually controls the reflex movement. Okay, so what type of reflex movement? It controls the reflex movement of brain. It's a control the reflex movement of head, neck, trunk in responses to this visual or auditory stimuli, right? So here it also control the reflex movement of eye muscles. It's not only control the reflex movement of head, it also control the reflex movement of eye muscles. Okay, and because of it control the reflex movement of eye muscles, because of that what will happen? The changes in pupil size as well as the shape of eyelids, is occurs. Okay, so that much functions are governed by this midbrain, right? So in very simple, again I summarize this midbrain. So midbrain do not have further division. It control the reflex movement of head, neck, trunk. Okay, not only it but also it control the reflex movement of eye muscles. Ultimately it change the pupil size as well as the shape of eye lens, right? Then third important part of brain, that is called as hindbrain. Okay, hindbrain, that we will see. Okay, it's the last important part of this brain, that is called as hindbrain. Now hindbrain also includes three parts. Okay, it also includes three parts. First part is called as cerebellum. Okay, second part is called as pons varolii, and third part, okay, is called as medulla oblongata. Okay, so hindbrain has three, it's included as three region or three part, that is called as cerebellum, pons varolii, and medulla oblongata. Okay, you can see this flower like structure, gobi ka fool. Okay, that is called as cerebellum, and you can see this here, that part and start. The first is pons varolii, second is cerebellum, and here you can see this gobi ka fool. Okay, that gobi ka fool is nothing but the cerebellum. Okay, now we will start what exactly the cerebellum. Okay, so you know cerebellum is the first largest part of the brain. So cerebellum is the second largest part of brain. It's the second largest part of the brain. Okay, it is a primary central of control of equilibrium and posture and balancing and orientation. It means it is it's a center, or you can say it's a primary center. Okay, it's a primary center for control of equilibrium, posture, or balancing and orientation. ओके, जैसे कि कोई इंसान ड्रंक है तो वो ढंग से चल नहीं पाता है, कहीं इधर गिरता है उधर गिरता है, बैलेंसिंग नहीं होता. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इक्विलिब्रियम. ओके, एंड पोस्चर्स. सो दिस सेरेब्रम इज एबल टू कंट्रोल आवर इक्विलिब्रियम. जैसे कि हम स्ट्रेट वे चलते हैं. ओके, बट जो ड्रिंकर है वो स्ट्रेट नहीं चलता है, वो कभी यहाँ लेफ्ट में जाता है, कभी राइट में जाता है, कभी पीछे और कभी आगे जाता है. राइट, सो इट्स अफेक्ट द सेरेब्रम. दैट्स व्हाई. So what is the main function of the cerebellum? It controls the equilibrium, postures, balancing and orientation. Not only it's coordinate the voluntary movement of skeletal muscles. It also control the voluntary movement of skeletal muscles. Oh, that is also the functions of cerebrum. Apart from that, it also controls the rhythmic movement such as walking, running, dancing, riding of bicycle, or speaking or picking up the pencil. Okay, so these are a rhythmic movement. It has a certain rhythm in that. Okay, so another function of cerebrum is like that. It also controls rhythmic movement, right? It also contains rhythmic movement. Okay, and that rhythmic movement is just like a walking, running, riding of bicycles, picking up pencils or pen, or speaking. Okay, dancing, swimming. So these all are comes under rhythmic movement, and that rhythmic movement are controlled by the cerebrum. So that much we have studied in the cerebrum. Now second part of hindbrain is known as pons varolii. You can see this is pons varolii, this is a medulla oblongata, and this one is called as cerebral. So this pons variouli and medulla oblongata together is known as brain stem. Okay, now pons variouli. This pons variouli, the word pons, it means bridge. What is the meaning of pons? Is nothing but the bridge. Okay, the meaning of pons variouli is known as bridge, and this pons variouli is nothing but the connection between, it is the connection between cerebrum, cerebellum and medulla oblongata. Right? And it's take parts in regulating of respiration. It also take part in the regulation of respiration. So means our respiration is controlled by pons variouli. Okay. Apart from that, this pons variouli is also act as a reflex center. Okay, it act as a reflex center. For what? This reflex center for breathing. Is reflex center for breathing together with medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. Okay, or we can say it is a pathway between the spinal cord and brain. Okay, pons variouli is a pathway between spinal cord brain. Understood? So this is all about the second important part of this hindbrain, that is called as pons variouli. Then we shift towards the third important part of this hindbrain, that is called as medulla oblongata. Okay, now this medulla oblongata is also known as medulla only. Now what exactly the medulla oblongata? Okay, so it is a posterior part of the brain. Posterior means back side. Okay, so this medulla oblongata is nothing but it is a posterior part of brain. यानी ब्रेन के पीछे वाले हिस्से को हम क्या कहते हैं? मेडुला oblongata. Okay, and this medulla oblongata is continuations as a spinal cord. It's continue. You can see this is medulla oblongata. Now this continue to the spinal cord. So here I am writing it's a continues with, it is continues with, or it continues as the spinal cord. Understood? Now it controls the involuntary action. This medulla oblongata controls involuntary action. Okay, so which type of involuntary action? Just like a heartbeat, respiration, okay, BP are there, okay, peristaltic movement of alimentary canal. So all is are controlled by this, involuntary actions are controlled by this medulla oblongata. BP, heartbeat, respiration, circulations, all are controlled by this medulla oblongata. Now it also controlling the center of reflexes. Okay, what is it? It also controlling center of reflexes. Okay, such as for example swallowing. Okay, swallowing, coughing, sneezing, vomiting, right, and secretion of saliva and secretion of saliva. Okay, this all swallowing, coughing, sneezing, vomiting, secretion of saliva are also controlled by this medulla oblongata. Okay, so these are the three important part of hindbrains. Okay, next we will see the second important part of this central nervous system is called as spinal cord, and that much only. Brain already we studied. Then last and important part of the central nervous system is called as spinal cord. Understood? Now, as you know that, what is the spinal cord? So, from this brain, suppose this is a brain, right? And from that, this spinal cord is continuing. Understood? So, spinal cord is nothing but it is a cylindrical structure. Okay, it is generally 42 to 45 centimeter long, here 2 centimeter in thick. Okay, it is just a hollow tube. Spinal cord is 42 to 45 centimeter in length, and it's a near about the width of is 2 centimeter. It's nothing but it's a hollow tube. Okay, and this spinal cord is extended. Okay, again I am repeating, it extending from, you can see this is medulla oblongata. So its extension of medulla oblongata is nothing but the spinal cord. So it extending from medulla oblongata to lumbar region. कमर का पोर्शन जिसे कहते हैं, it comes under lumbar region, right? So spinal cord is a continuation of, so I can say like that the spinal cord begins in a continuation with this medulla oblongata and extend towards downward, right? It enclosed in a bony cage. The spinal cord is enclosed, or we can say is covered in bony cage. That bony cage is called as vertebral column. This is very important. Okay, the spinal cord is situated in a bony cage. That bony cage is called as vertebral column, right? It is also surrounded by, this spinal cord is also surrounded by the membrane called as meninges. Is also covered by membrane is known as meninges. Okay, that we already discussed in brain, right? And how many means 31 pairs from the spinal cord. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. 31 pair of spinal nerves arises from spinal cord. Okay, so this is all about the information of spinal cord. So basically, again I summarize this one, structure of spinal cord. So it is, you can see it is a cylindrical in shape, right? The length of the spinal cord is generally 42 to 45 centimeter, and its thickness near about 2 centimeter. Okay, spinal cord is nothing but it's a hollow tube. It extending from medulla oblongata to the lumbar region, or in other word I can say that the spinal cord begins in a continuation with this medulla oblongata towards the downward, that means towards the lumbar region. This spinal cord is enclosed in a bony cage. That bony cage is known as vertebral column. Okay, and just like a brain, it also surrounded by this membrane. So that membrane is called as meninges. There are 31 pair of spinal nerves that arises from the spinal cord. Okay, next we will see what are these functions of the spinal cord then. Okay, you can see it is a main pathway of conducting the sensory and motor nerves impulse. It is very important. Okay, it is the first function of the spinal cord is like that. It is a main pathway. Okay, it's a main pathway for conducting of sensory and motor nerves impulse, right? Okay, you know that connecting of central nervous system. Spinal cord is a part of central nervous system, so sensory nerves and motor nerves play a very significant role. So you can say like this is a main and important pathway for conducting these nerves, whether it may be a sensory or it may be a motor impulse. Then sensory impulse. Okay, I'm talking about right now, it's a sensory impulse. It's travel from body to brain. It's travel. Sensory impulse is travel from body it's from yes, right, I'm right, yeah. Little bit confused. So sensory impulse travel from the body to brain, but whereas the motor impulse is travel from brain to the body. Understood? What is the functions here? The sensory impulse are there that travel from body to the brain, and motor impulse that carry the impulse from brain to the body, vice versa. And here the spinal reflexes. Next function is the spinal reflexes are controlled by spinal cord only. We will see the spinal reflexes, cerebral reflexes in reflex action. So here the spinal reflexes is only and only is controlled by the spinal cord, and the spinal cord gives relief to the brain. And next, this is very, very, very important function of the spinal cord is that spinal cord gives relief to the brain. Okay, so this is all about the spinal cord, and here it's end with the central nervous system, right? So we covered the central nervous system has 3 parts: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, right? And spinal cord. Okay, so here I will draw in short the part, so you is a map like structure, so you can easily get that, and then I will complete this session. I will draw the flowchart of whole nervous system. Okay, first this is a nervous system, right? We already studied. This nervous system consists of here central nervous system. Okay, it's a peripheral nervous system and is an autonomous nervous system. Okay, now central nervous system. The central nervous system consists of brain and concept map. This is a spinal cord. Okay, then this brain again divided into three parts, that is forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Okay, forebrain has four parts, that is first is olfactory, or I can draw like that. Yes, first part is the olfactory lobe, right? Second is called as cerebrum. Third is called as this basal nuclei, and fourth is called as diencephalon. Okay, here midbrain do not further divides. Here the hindbrains also have three parts, that is called as cerebellum. Okay, these are the four parts of forebrain. Cerebellum, then pons varoli. This is a concept map. Okay, and medulla oblongata. And this is spinal cord. Okay, that much. And in peripheral nervous system, it again divided into two parts. We'll discuss later on, but here I will draw concept so you will understand. This is cranial nerves, and here is spinal nerves. Okay, and this autonomous nervous system further divided into two parts, that is called as sympathetic nervous system, and here is parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, this is a concept map of nervous system. Thank you.